in 2006.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So 20 years ago, right?
Yes.
All right, so it's been 20 years ago since you have worked as an employee of the Florida Department of Corrections.
That is correct. Yes.
Since you have stepped foot into a correctional institution in this state as an employee, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you've talked about you have previously testified as a consultant, and I believe counsel asked about your expert opinion in corrections or in security, corrections security?
Corrections, security operations, anything to deal with corrections, detention, prisons, and jails.
The 55 times that you've testified, that has included testifying in civil cases, correct?
Yeah, a handful, yes, sir.
Testifying in cases where people have filed lawsuits where someone's been injured or hurt in a jail or in the prisons?
Yes.
That's included testimony in non-capital criminal cases?
That's correct.
When did you start testifying in criminal cases?
In criminal cases?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been over 10 years. But
Over 10 years. All right. And you didn't start testifying in cases like this, penalty phase of a capital murder case. You didn't start doing this until about 5 years ago, right?
approximately 5 years ago, yes.
So how many times have you come into court in a penalty phase setting like this and testified?
Over 40 times.
In a penalty phase?
In a penalty case, about 20 cases.
Over the last 5 years?
Yes.
You were asked about the typical day in the life of a person who has been sentenced to life without parole here in the state of Florida, right?
Yes.
In the prisons, correct?
Yes.
And you would agree that when the person is sentenced and they're transported, they go to a receiving facility, correct?
From the county jail?
Yes.
Yes, they go to a reception center.
A
Yes,
reception center. And then, I don't know, are they classified there, or do they go to some other facility where they go through classification?
No, every prisoner goes to the reception center, and they will classify them and assign them to a permanent prison.
To a permanent prison, right. And that's done by a classification specialist of some type?
A classification officer along with their classification supervisor.
And once they get into a prison, when they're assigned to their prison, they will be observed and they will be watched and monitored and documented, as you said, as they go through their day-to-day activities, correct?
Yes.
Over the course of the time that they're in that facility, right?
Yes.
And at about 6 months approximately, they're going to be reevaluated, right?
Right, anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Now, of course, to clarify, if they're not adjusting well, they will be reassessed sooner than that.
But they're, okay, that's true. Okay, if they commit some offense, or they violate some major rule, or they start accumulating DRs, disciplinary reports, that may accelerate that classification or reevaluation. Is that right?
Yes.
But at some point, even if they live spotlessly clean, follow all the rules, they are a wonderful inmate, they do everything right, they're going to be reclassified at some point within a year.
Well, particularly in this case, when you're serving a life sentence, at a minimum, you have to have an annual review. So basically, they have a reassessment annually just to make sure they're keeping up with their behavior and touching base with any needs as a case manager would do.
Right, and I misspoke. They're not necessarily going to be reclassified, but they're going to be reassessed, reevaluated.
Yes.
And that's done by a classification team or a specialist in that facility?
Right. The classification officer will review them, and then the paperwork goes to the institutional classification team.
So if a person is sentenced to life without parole for a capital murder, like in this case, same kind of charges we have in this case, and they go up to the reception center, they're normally going to be sent to a facility, correctional institute, and they're going to be at a fairly high level of security level, right?
Every inmate serving life will be nothing less than close custody.
Close custody, right. And once they've been there for 6 months, 8 months, whatever it takes, if they're following the rules and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're not accumulating DRs, they're going to be reevaluated, right?
Correct.
And there may be modifications to their job assignments, correct?
Correct, based on institutional needs.
Institutional needs, right. And you said that most likely if someone is sentenced to life, the first thing they're going to be doing is probably pushing a mower outside, working outdoors, doing some kind of manual labor, right?
Correct. Inside grounds is the go-to assignment. It's in the heat, and that's where we need the most labor
Right.
to get things done.
And a lot of these facilities, even the ones in North Florida in the summer, they get pretty hot, don't they?
Every one of them.
So they're going to be out there in the heat getting pressure tested as far as their ability to maintain what they're supposed to be doing their jobs, doing it right, being disciplined enough to follow regulations, right, and rules.
Yes.
And again, that's something that's being assessed over time, right?
Yes.
I was trying to find the term you used, a period of observation, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Now, you work in Texas, is that correct, sir?
Yes, I do.
In Austin, right?
Yes.
What county is that? Tarrant County? Is that
No,
right?
that's Travis County.
Travis County. You did work in Tarrant County.
Tarrant County's Fort Worth, yes.
Fort Worth. And you also worked in San Antonio,
Yes,
is that
Tarrant
right?
County.
And you worked in St. Louis for the
Correct.
jails up there, correct?
For 10 months.
You worked
Horrible
in
experience.
Osceola County?
Osceola Jail Commander and Orange County
And
Corrections
Orange
as the
County
major.
Corrections? You've had a lot of corrections jobs where you've worked for about 2 to 4 years and then moved on to other jobs?
No, the agency, the department, I was over 19 years, did 2 years with Orange County Corrections, promoted to Osceola County, did my additional 2.5 years, and retired.
That's when you retired out
Retired.
of 2010.
Had to deal with the unfortunate escape and fire folks, and my mother was in hospice. And then actually, just to clarify, then went on to work with Bridges of America for 2 years, which is a reentry program that contracts Department of Corrections for 2 years. And then I was tapped on to be the jail administrator in Bexar County for almost 4 years. And individuals like myself, we serve at the will. So the elected official sheriff was not reelected. So the administration that's appointed has to find another opportunity in which the sheriff in Tarrant County asked me to be the jail
Okay.
administrator.
I thought you said Bexar County. You said
Bexar.
Bexar County.
Mhm.
Okay. And those are in Texas,
That's in San Antonio, yes.
San Antonio. And Tarrant County is which major
Fort
city?
Worth.
Fort Worth. All right. But you work in Austin, but you live in Tallahassee, correct?
Correct. I commute every few weeks. My home is in Tallahassee.
Have you done that through all your jobs in Texas?
Yes.
Kept your residence here in the state
Well,
of
yeah, because my
Florida?
wife and family reside on and off in Florida, so I even did it when I went to St. Louis, did 10 months, but my family didn't relocate to that assignment.
So you were in St. Louis for 10 months, for less than a year?
It's a tough assignment. That's all I wanted to do was 10 months in St. Louis.
And in addition to doing that, as you told counsel when she first asked what you do, you started consulting, right?
I've been consulting since 2000. I'm a National American Correctional Association national and international auditor. I've done over 300 prison and jail inspections in-state as
Well,
well
I'm
as...
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was talking about consulting in legal cases. I
Okay.
should have been more specific.
Okay.
At some
Yeah.
point, you started consulting in legal cases.
Correct. It could have been
Okay.
2014 is when I started doing more of the legal side of it.
So getting back to what we were talking about, when you worked in the DOC, you either trained on or you supervised the people who were doing these classifications, correct?
Yes,
The teams, the classification specialists or coordinators,
all that.
fair to say that? Yep.
Yep.
Okay. And like we were talking about earlier, they're reviewing, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the security level for that person? Or
Correct.
The custody level?
Yeah, what happens is we review, first of all, the term that they're sent to the prison system will determine their custody in many cases. So someone who serves life, you will always be close custody. That's just the system is designed that way. Depending on other inmates coming in the system, if they have a term of years, they also look at that. If their charges mitigate, all those things to determine their custody level.
And a lot of it, or most of it, is based on their adjustment, right? How they're adjusting.
Their adjustment, as well as their prison sentence, as well as
Right.
their prison.
But I mean, they're continuing, when you're reassessing a person's status and how they're going to live in the custody or in that institution, they're looking at how they're adjusting to prison life over time, right?
Yes.
And they're looking for a continuous positive behavior on the part of the inmate, correct?
Correct, starting from the reception center, because when they come in 6 to 12 weeks, they might not get to their permanent camp, so they're assigned a job even at a reception center. If you're there more than 10 weeks, you have to get a job assignment, so they actually start now assessing them even at the reception center, pending going to their permanent facility.
So this, to be, just to phrase it another way, they're looking at the sentence, they're looking at the history, but they're also looking at things like, do they have a high school degree, right?
Yeah, they look at their education, they verify that through
Right.
their database to make sure if they have any kind of education. They also gather their skills, any kind of employment, because when we get weekly allocations, I'm going to correct myself, when the Department of Corrections gets weekly allocations, it's like a factory line. On Mondays, they get an allocation list. We're flushing out 590 prisoners out of the system, but one facility needs 50 cooks. Another one might need 12 plumbers. No matter the custody level, depending on main institution, then we try, the Department of Classification team will try to fill those allocations because we want to empty the reception centers, but also the department needs to fill the vacancies and the needs for those facilities.
So a lot of it's need-based, from what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay.
Yes.
You spent, in this case with Mr. Gathright, an hour and a half with him, correct?
Yes.
And you've told us some of your impressions here a few minutes ago?
Yes.
Yeah, let me just go through that with you. You found out at some point that he has a high school degree, correct?
Yes.
You found out that he had prior, I guess, worked in the catering industry, may have culinary skills or
Yes.
some level of culinary skills?
He worked at Oxford Country Club as a prep cook. He did some other work. During my interview, he did work in the hospitality industry.
At a country club?
Country Club in Oxford, in Mississippi, I think it was, yes.
And you found him to be very articulate, correct?
Correct.
He was very cooperative with you, is that correct?
Yes.
In fact, he graduated from Oxford High School in Mississippi, correct?
Yes, in 2023, I think. Yes.
He also worked for the Omni Hotel, is that right? In catering?
Let me double check. He didn't mention that. He did tell me he worked for Oxford Country Club, well, also a sushi place and Central Plate Catering Service, unless that was a contract with the Omni Hotel, which some of them do. I'm not familiar.
Okay. If you had said at a time in the past that he did work for the Omni Hotel, would it refresh your memory if I showed you that?
Sure.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
And it's page 23, counsel, of his deposition.
Let me see if I can find it. Bedford, Omni. Yeah, I did mention Omni, but in my notes, as you see, well,
Do you think that the Omni that you came up with may have been something someone told you maybe, even if it's not in your notes since you testified to it?
no, I
in the
really,
deposition?
I don't even stay at an Omni Hotel, but I don't know where that one came from. I'm trying to look at my
Okay.
notes. No, Central Plate Catering, I don't recall.
So he had experience working in catering,
And serving,
serving,
prep cook.
prep cook. All right. Do you remember telling me in your deposition that I took of you that you were impressed by him?
Yes.
And you found him to be a very mature person, a very mature young man?
Someone 20, yes, he came across very mature.
Now, when you worked for the Department of Corrections, you worked for a lot of institutions, a lot of correctional institutions, correct?
Yes,
And when I say worked for, all of that's the Department of Corrections.
yes,
Statewide agency, right?
yes, sir.
Maintains our prison system. Is that correct? All right.
Yes.
So I think you said you worked at Tomoka, you worked at Martin. You mentioned Santa Rosa. You didn't work at Santa Rosa.
I
though,
worked
right?
at Polk CI,
Polk
Polk
CI.
Correctional Institute,
Okay.
Martin, Tomoka, Hernando.
Union Correctional and Florida State Prison, both located in Rayford or right there by Rayford. Familiar with them?
Yes, I
All
am.
right. You were never permanently assigned to either one of those, correct?
No,
You visited them as part of your job. You went there for training, I believe. You may have been there for other reasons, but you were never permanently assigned there.
never permanently assigned.
Never permanently assigned to death row, correct?
Correct.
And when you worked there, when you left in '06, death row was housed, for men, was housed at Union, correct, in Rayford?
Yes,
And literally almost down the road at Florida State Prison, which is a prison that's actually called Florida State Prison, correct?
FSP.
Right, FSP. Now, death row is housed exclusively at Union Correctional, correct?
Yes,
You have not viewed the inside area of death row or had access to that in over 20 years, correct?
correct.
Death row conditions, would you agree with me that that is maximum solitary close custody?
It is maximum security, close custody. I don't know if the word solitary, that's a
right.
word we don't use in the industry anymore because.
Right.
of rights.
Well, the common meaning solitary, meaning that they are housed individually in their own cells, correct?
Yes,
You indicated earlier the cells are 6 feet by 9 feet, correct?
approximately, yes.
All right. And in death row, there are 6 wings, each with 2 levels, 8 cells per row. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's my understanding.
You mentioned steel toilets and sinks. The toilet has no lid, correct?
Stainless steel toilet, yeah, no lids, industrial corrections toilets.
Right. They have a steel bed with a thin mattress, correct?
Correct.
And they can have a radio if they wish, correct?
Also, they also, often many of them just use the tablets, because you can get music on tablets
The
as well.
tablets, all right. I'm going
Yes.
to talk to you about the tablet in a minute. They are issued tablets. Let's just go ahead and talk about it. They are issued tablets. The tablet is, it's like it sounds. It's like a pad, electrical pad or tablet.
It's a hard book.
Right. And it has limited content on it. You can read books on it. There are some programs you can watch on it. But there is availability to purchase additional things you can watch on it for money, correct?
Yes,
So you have to have that money in your commissary or canteen, is that correct?
that is correct.
So somebody you know outside of prison has to put that or donate that or deposit that into your account?
Into the inmate trust account, yes, sir.
Okay. They have no access to any kind of internet connection with that tablet, correct?
That is correct.
They are issued their own TVs. They are little 13-inch cubes, correct?
Yes.
And those work off of an antenna, correct?
Rabbit ears, as we often call it.
Just like the larger big flat screens that are mounted in the general population or the, I'm not saying that right, I know that's not the term.
The day
Open
rooms,
population.
in the day rooms.
Yeah, well, let me go back to open population for non-death row. They have bigger TVs TVs that are mounted that they watch communally, I guess.
Correct, it's general population.
Right. But with both of those, they're working, especially these little small TVs are just working off an antenna, right? Like
Yes.
little rabbit ears,
We have
right?
the same channels that everybody else would have.
Just a few channels. They're not getting a streaming service or cable, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Now, their food, they are fed 3 times a day, correct?
Yes,
First, breakfast is at 5 a.m., correct?
roughly, yes.
Lunch is from 10:30 to 11, is that right?
More or less, yes.
Dinner from 4 to 4:30 p.m.
Yes.
Those meals are brought to them on a plastic tray, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
And they are slid through and they eat them in their cell, correct?
yes,
They don't leave their cell to go eat somewhere, correct?
that is correct.
And they are given what's called a spork,
Spork, yes.
a plastic spork, correct?
Yes,
That's all they're given. They're not
Yes.
given any cutlery of any kind, correct?
absolutely not.
And that would be the 3 meals they're going to eat every day moving forward, correct?
Like
The
the
way
rest
they
of
eat 'em.
every inmate, yes,
Those are prepared by institutional food service, correct?
yes,
Is that other inmates?
yes, inmates prepare the meals.
So they're eating them when they're secured in their cells, correct?
Yep.
All right.
I think from time to time, keeping up with some of the changes, they might have 1 or 2 eat in the day room, the trustees helping, but majority of them eat in the cell.
Now, they're allowed to have snacks, correct?
Yeah, yes, commissary items, yes,
But they have to purchase those from the commissary
correct,
with money deposited into that account. Is that right?
yes,
All right. There are times when they're allowed out of that cell, correct?
yes,
And you talked about that because there was a civil legal settlement back in 2022 that expanded their time out of the cells, correct?
yes, sir,
They can go to what's called a day room, right?
yes,
All right. And that's every day, Monday through Friday, for 3.5 hours, correct?
yes.
And that is that entire row, so 8 or 7 inmates, correct?
7, 8 inmates in the same common area.
Right.
If they choose to leave the cell.
So the common area is basically a cell, just like the one they're in, that's in the middle of the row. That's an empty cell that has things in it, like a kiosk, a TV, a card table, right?
Now, when you say the middle cell, you're talking about the day room environment?
The day room.
Yeah, it's sort of an area, but it's not a cell that everyone goes into. It's a common area.
It's about the size of a cell, though.
About
right?
the size, very small, but it's
Very
a common
small.
area where the officers are supervising them. They're not like in a cell.
So these inmates, during that time, they can also elect to go use one of the phones on the row, right?
Yes.
On that row. Or they can elect to take a shower, correct?
Yes.
To go have a shower. And like all the other, they get 3 showers a week, but they can elect to use that day room time to get a shower, right?
Yes.
The kiosk that is in that day room, there's a similar kiosk in their recreational area that they're allowed to go to during the week too, right?
I think there is, but I can't confirm that. But
But the kiosk allows them to make purchases, it allows them to make phone calls with money.
I know the
deposited money.
kiosks that you're referencing, my understanding, those kiosks, unless you're talking about the wall mounts, most of them are only there to communicate, get your balance on your inmate account, as well as order commissary.
Order commissary, all right. So other than the day room time, if they're going to take a shower, they have to take it 3 times a week.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay.
They also have recreation time as well.
They do. So I want to talk to you about that real quick. That's 2 times a week for 3 hours, right?
Correct.
And I think there's about 20 inmates at a time that go out on that rec area.
Yeah, my understanding, they try to keep it at 15, but 20 is the max.
15 to 20, okay, 20 is the max, right. And the rec area has a backboard,
Yes, they do.
and it has a flat area there where they can shoot hoops, play basketball.
Yes, sir.
All right, but it's not full court.
Absolutely not, no.
Okay. And I think there's a dipping and chinning apparatus that they can share or utilize, correct?
Yes,
And it's open air.
yes.
All right. Visitation is on the weekend, if they're allowed to have visitation.
And during the week, I've visited many times, and families do come up during the week as well.
That has to be pre-approved, correct?
By the warden, yes, sir.
But there are hours on the weekends from, I believe, 9 to 3, where they can go and be visited, correct?
Correct.
So Other than what we've talked about, staying on their row where their cells are lined up and going to the day room or going to the rec area, anytime they leave that cell, they are shackled, correct?
Yes.
And that would include leg irons, waist chains, and cuffs to the waist chains, correct?
And a black box.
And a black box between the hands, right?
Yes.
So they're going to be walking like this,
Yes.
and they're going to be escorted anywhere else they go.
With 2 officers.
When they go to visitation, to visit someone on the weekend, they're escorted to a search room where they are searched and monitored, correct?
Yes, going in and out.
And then they're allowed to go into this open area, which I think has a maximum of 22 or 23 inmates,
Correct.
where they can meet with their families.
Across from the table.
On average, inmates on death row spend 21 hours a day, on average, in their cell.
Well, depending on the week, of the day, it can be as less as 16 hours, but depending on if that's the day room, and also keep in mind, they can put a request to go to the library as well now, in which they have to be escorted. And they can also say they had a medical emergency, so I don't want to quantify that because every day is a different
Right.
day. But
Right.
I would honestly say anywhere from 15 to 21 hours is about the average.
And no matter what, they are always under heavy surveillance, correct?
Yes, because of their custody level.
What is their custody level?
They are, any inmate who is sentenced to death row is maximum security level.
All right. And they are you talked about head counts in general population. The inmates on death row are counted hourly, correct?
Yes. Mhm.
Every hour, or at least every hour on the hour, correct?
They also have informal counts as well.
They have, you would agree with me, a strictly controlled daily routine, correct?
I would say yes.
All right. And there is no air conditioning on death row, correct?
Well, no. There is air conditioning on death row. As far as the housing units, not like a general population prison environment, we don't have death row. They do because of their housing category.
Right. There's
yes.
no AC, right? No air
Well,
conditioning.
they do have, I want to say not AC, but they do have some kind of better exhaust system because they spend the majority of their time in a housing environment versus a regular prison. They're allowed to go outside
But
onto the complex.
It's not air conditioning, though, the way that
No.
we would understand air
No,
conditioning.
not like
Okay.
we would do at home, no.
I believe you answered this, but to counsel's question, in the times that you told us that you've come in penalty phases and testified, I think you said it was 20 times over the last 5 years?
Approximately, yes.
And you've given similar testimony to what you gave today?
Yes.
About the conditions within the Department of Corrections?
Yes,
Okay. You've never testified in those cases for the state or the prosecution, correct?
no, never been asked.
And you indicated you are getting paid for your work in this case, and you told us your rates, $200, $225 for testimony. Have you tendered any invoices for your work?
Yes, I have.
What was the total?
The total for the first invoice was for 10 hours and a half, and it was approximately $1,800.
And how much additional work hours since then?
20 hours, totaling probably about $2,500 more.
Lastly, you found with the defendant, when you interviewed him over that hour and a half, that not only was he mature, but you gave the opinion that he could handle himself, correct?
Yes, based on his physical stature, his communication, how he was able to answer my questions, he seemed like.
Go ahead.
Okay, keep going. Okay.
No, keep
I'm
talking.
sorry.
He's listening.
All right, okay, he's listening, okay. So, based on my observation, he didn't pose a concern of not living in general population, particularly at the jail, the way he's in general population and talking to the officers.
Right.
Yeah,
That wasn't my words, that was your words to me in the deposition, right, that he could handle himself?
yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'll tender the witness.
Okay, hold on, any cross, Mr. Hernandez, any cross?
No, thank you.
Any cross, Ms. Toomey?
No.
And Mr. Petridis? Okay, redirect.
Just a couple follow-up questions, Mr. Bonasco. You said you've never been asked to testify for the state. Are you open to that if somebody were to contact you?
Yes, ma'am.
And backing up to some of the questions you were asked about your kind of employment and assignments over the last, several years, I believe that you said on direct that it's kind of common, this consulting area is somewhat common for somebody who may have your in-depth experience in the jail and prison system. Is that right?
Correct.
Being a retired warden, things like that?
Yes, many of us, because of our national affiliations with national corrections, local jail detentions, a lot of us who retire or have retired once come back, they seek that experience in many cases to get a bit of insight on how the systems work.
Not something that while you're working in that employment, for example, as the warden of a prison, you're not going to come and testify here, are you?
No.
When you were asked about some of your employment, you called them assignments. So I just wanted to clear it up a little bit. Some of the work that you've done, say, in Texas and different counties, those are temporary assignments, is that right?
They're all at-will assignments.
So you're not taking a position somewhere and then just quitting?
No.
When you said that in speaking with Mr. Gathright, he was mature for a 20-year-old, was that based upon the conversation you had with him?
My conversation, how he was answering the questions, my years of experience, particularly his age, someone who was 20, was not sharing information, was communicating well, and wasn't disrespectful at all.
You weren't asked to evaluate his decision-making or impulsivity or anything like that, right?
No.
And you were in the jail, I believe, Hillsborough
Yes.
County Jail?
Yes.
Was that in a small interview room?
Yes, it was.
And I presume that you told him that his defense team sent you to see him, is that right?
Yes, I did.
You were asked about some areas of death row and when the inmates can go outside, and you were asked if they were open air, and you said yes, right?
Yes.
The law requires an amount of air and sunshine, is that correct?
Yes, they're required to have sun, also for national accreditation purposes.
When you say open air, does that mean that they're not surrounded by a fence or barbed wire and
No,
some?
it's a dog pen, as we call it. They're fenced in entirely. There's not an open fence, but everything's fenced in. You
So
just
it's
have
not-
access to sunlight.
Not some lovely outdoor recreational area?
No.
And about the air conditioning, I think you clarified it, but just so that we're clear, that when there's no AC, or what we know as AC on death row, that's just where the inmates are housed, not the other facilities that they're able to go to, right?
Correct. So for clarification, when you say other, like facilities where lifers are assigned,
Well, or on death row, if they were to go to a day room, they're going where everybody goes?
yeah, pretty much those units, they're designed with heavy exhaust system, which runs the air more fluidly, more cooler than you would be at a regular prison where there is literally very little flow of air, so it's very hot. The environments are very different.
Okay. And the visits that a death row inmate has, Mr. Harmon kind of showed how they're shackled and they have the black box and they're in handcuffs, but those handcuffs are actually removed when they visit with their loved ones, right?
Yes, they are.
And they're allowed a hug and a kiss, I believe?
A hug and an embrace, that's it. Just like the rest of the inmate population.
When someone is sentenced to life without parole, is the goal of the Florida Department of Corrections to rehabilitate that person?
Objection, outside the scope, Your Honor.
Overall, go ahead.
No, in my many years of experience as classification officer and supervisor, the standard practice across the industry those who are serving a term of life, they're not the ones that we are focused on making an investment in. We look at those individuals who have a term of years, so we can provide them programs, betterment, peer-to-peer self-assessment programs, because the goal is to get them in a place so when they get released, they do not reoffend. And with a lifer, we are aware they will never leave the prison system. The only opportunity they will have is they end up at a prison in which maybe we informally, as classification officers, would keep a list. So if we had a vacant seat in a particular program and they were behaving and following the rules, we would insert them so that seat wouldn't go to waste. But they're still required to work 60 hours a week. They do not get out of work. Versus those with a term of life, less than life, those individuals, if they're going to be getting released, that in many cases, the assignment for them will be education half a day and then work the other half.
So although we've heard that someone serving life without parole is required to work and then may have some opportunity to do programs or mentorships, the ultimate goal is still punishment, correct?
Yes.
No further questions.
Okay, very good. May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're free to go. All right, we're just going to take a quick 10-minute comfort break, and then we'll be back, okay? Thank you.
All right.